No, my dad just lost a ton of weight and is like an infant now and can't move anything.
So it's just really heavy. Larva. Let's talk toolboxes. More specifically, 1949 Diamond T saddle tanks. Should be fun. All right, kiddo. Why don't you tell the people at home what you're gonna do with these saddle tanks?
Yeah, we're gonna put them on my truck.
All right, thanks for joining us this week. We'll see you guys next time here at Crossthread Garage and Salvage. All right, so here's the plan. Where Caitlin's sitting right now, this space right here needs filled. Otherwise, it's just a big, ugly, empty space. So we do have running boards that are gonna come up here, and we've got a bed that's going on back there. And if you've been watching for a while, you know we're planning on putting a rear mount radiator right here behind the cab. So the question is, what goes across there? Does the bed go underneath the radiator? Probably not. How do we fill that space? How do we attach tanks? And I said to myself,
Self?
and I knew it was myself because I was wearing my own underwear. I said, what about an old set of like saddle tanks from an old semi? So I got on Facebook, found a guy in the Pittsburgh area who routinely hauls, what does he haul? Potatoes, he said, to Michigan.
Giddy up.
Different type of saddle. And he says, yeah, I come through the Cleveland area all the time. Just let me know when and where, I'll bring them to you. So for $100, we got ourselves a set of 1949 Diamond T saddle tanks. And I could not be happier. The patina on these things is amazing. And in fact, it actually matches the color. There is green, there is rusty orange, there is red, there is rust. And if you notice over here, you have rust and orange and red and green. These things look like they were made for this truck. So the plan today is to get these things cleaned up and begin fabricating a couple of toolbox doors, because we're gonna need to put some doors right in the side here and over there to make space, one for storage and one for batteries. So the passenger side is gonna be the one with the batteries, so we can run the cable right up here to the starter. Yes, you have a question?
Yes, what is our bed looking like?
I have no idea yet.
Is it going to look weird with this?
Probably. Is that a reason not to do this?
No. We don't need a bed on it anyways.
What we need to do is do this one piece at a time. So we have the cab, right? So now we found saddle tank, toolbox, battery boxes that match the cab. Right. Once we get that up there, then we'll be able to say, now what kind of bed matches this setup? And we'll be able to put some sort of modified bed. I'm thinking like an old flat deck from a grain bed that we can shrink and shorten and make into like a 7x7 just flatbed box behind all of this. I think that'd work. We'll see though.
I'm a visual learner, but I need to see it.
All right. You may have noticed the exhaust tubes laying on the ground here. We'll get into that before we're done today. But show them what it's going to look like. Spread those each out about 8 inches, and that's where we're talking. So let's get a wire wheel and some like 180 grit on a DA sander and see if we can't get some of this flake and rust cleaned up. Okay, we got it sufficiently dusty in here, but I just want to show you the difference here. You guys watch the time lapse on Caitlin cleaning up the flakes and paint off of this. But I've been wire wheeling on this end, just cleaning the rust off this diamond plate.
Wow.
And this, go get a rag and that sweet patina so fresh and clean and see what this looks like. So once we get that down to this finish and then oiled with the sweet patina sauce, this thing is going to look awesome, and it won't ever get back to looking like this. It's machined in there, pressed in there. I don't actually know how they make diamond plate. That would be an interesting video. Found a data plate I didn't realize was down here. You can get it, but it says Cutler Metal Projects Company on the bottom. Oh, this will tell us how many gallons it is, I bet, Caitlin.
125.
125 gallons?
I told you it wasn't 60.
60 each is 120.
Oh, well, you say 60.
Pretty close.
He said, I think they're 30 each.
Did I?
Yeah.
Sounds like something I might have said. All right. Let's finish getting this cleaned up, and then we'll get out of here and let the dust settle for a minute. Okay guys, we're going to show you the inspiration for the fuel tank toolbox slash battery box, and that is my 47 Chevy here. So this is actually the original 47 fuel tank, and it's on a 1990 or 91, I can't remember now. 90, I think it's a 90.
I thought it was 91.
No, it's non-intercooled, 90. Dodge chassis. So we took the original fuel tank, put a latch on it, made it into a toolbox slash battery box, although the battery is currently inside on a battery tender for the winter. But this perfectly filled the space here between the cab and the rear wheel underneath. So using a fuel tank for a battery box and a toolbox is not an original idea to me, and it's actually not even the first time we've tried it. But it actually is a great option for that patinaed rat rod that you might be building. So we're going to go inside, take some measurements on that tank, because I haven't actually confirmed it fits yet. Bought it for $100. I knew I wanted it no matter what, because it's a 49 Diamond T fuel tank. So this project or another one, it's going to get used. But even if we have to cut this thing in half and widen it for some reason to get it to fit, that's going to be fine, because there's a pretty good chance we open it up to allow airflow for that rear mount radiator anyways. So let's go get some measurements on Caitlin's 2000 F350 chassis and on the tank itself. Cold yet?
Freezing.
Okay. We're letting the dust flow out of here, so, but also our heat. So let's just get it up and we'll live with whatever's in here. Oh, it's nice and warm in here still. Also nice and dusty in here still.
All my friends, and their parents have been talking about how much weight you've lost.
Yeah, well, I think I've delayed my plans for adult onset diabetes.
I think I have $1 I do not feel good when my money is low.
I'm just trying to get down to a weight where I can feel good about myself eating an entire pizza in one sitting. That's like my goal weight. Okay, 38 inches is what we're dealing with here. That's not my pant size anymore. It is, however, the width between the inside of those two tanks. So let's get a measurement on this frame.
Dad, I don't think 38 inches is as big as you think. I think that's
38 inches. 38 inches is right there. This is barely going to squeak over the frame, and stuff like this, that's going to probably end up being in the way. We may end up having to trim those off. All that does is hold the heat shield, but I think on the other side, there's at least 3 over there. Oh, and the emergency brake cable is on the outside. How much room do we have to go back to the emergency brake cable? 20. Let's just say it's not going to be up against the cab. Let's just give it there. We got about 26, 27 inches to the emergency brake cable bracket that's on the frame. I guess we need to go from the, this is kind of crowned, like it's got a little bit of a arc or arch in it. So we'll go with the center here, and that is 25.5 inches. It's kind of made for it. Like, I don't believe in luck or chance. I do, however, believe in providence, and I'm pretty sure this was meant to be. Okay, let's talk turkey here. We've got a 26-inch deep, front to back, toolbox, and a frame that right here pitches pretty far forward. So if we intended to mount this out back behind the cab here, maybe giving it 1.5 inches of space, we'd need to fill that gap somehow.
Hockey pucks.
Hockey pucks are an option, but that would put 26 inches right here. If we brought that back basically to this shackle mount and right in front of this cross member here,
Wait.
so we have 26 inches right there. That puts us basically right here where it tips forward. With that bracket that's on there, there will be room to mount it here. 26 inches is there, and it fills this space with the exception of the, what is this?
Which is okay, because we need the pipes, the stacks.
Hey, you're going where I'm going. That's exactly right. So that leaves us 7 inches of space there.
That's what that's why I was raising my hand. We can't put it all the way up here because the stacks have to go
Well,
down.
we have some options with the stacks. One of them is to do 1 stack instead of 2.
No, 2 stacks. I've already taken
This is the exhaust here. We just bring it right out underneath here and it goes straight up. That would be kind of ideal, actually.
But I've already taken a poll.
A poll
Yeah, I already asked people if I should do 2 stacks, and they said yes.
amongst your high school friends that don't know anything about rat rods or hot rods or car building or anything like that.
No, but they know it looks cool.
It does look cool. I'm going to grant them and you that. It does look cool. Okay, so that's just our options are coming right out the side and straight up, and then we'd have some sort of gap to fill there, which wouldn't be that hard. The challenge with bringing the pipe up through here is that this is a cross member here that I don't think we want to cut 4 inches, a 4-inch hole out of to run a pipe through, because this is tying your frame together. It's kind of structural, which leaves us potentially then still coming out the side
Right.
and then doing like a Y pipe and going across and then both of them up. I'm not sure about how that would flow.
Why can't you do a pipe under?
Do a pipe underneath and then go like underneath the fuel tank?
And up.
Uh,
Actually, the fuel tank might be
I'm not
too
sure that
low.
would be ideal either.
It's kind of like how we had it set up with the pipe, and they were sitting on top of it.
Yeah.
Like
I know.
actually do the pipe and them sitting on top of
The
it.
other challenge here is if our radiator is going back here and we have our hot exhaust running right across in front of it, it's pulling hot air. So your thermal transfer when the air goes through the fins will be reduced because you're pulling hot air instead of cold air through.
Well, then we might just have to do 1 stack.
I am seeing this problem too, and let me bring you guys down here to the party. If you're looking across here, that sticks up higher, and that is where the filler neck is. But wait a minute. Let's get 26 inches here again. So that's basically at 12, 13 inches, so almost dead center. We're at 12.5 inches, 13 inches right there. That's middle. We could actually, and we got this loosened up while we were cleaning up on time lapse. We could actually run a rubber hose through here, through the back of the toolbox into there for the filler neck, and still use this as the filler neck. How awesome would that be?
Pretty cool, but I'm definitely gonna leave the cap somewhere.
That's a brass cap. Look at the inside of it. That's brass.
The little holes for.
I don't know. Somebody tell us in the comment, what are those little holes that are filled in with looks like something like lead? What are those for? My thought is, if this filler neck is the center of our toolbox, then we're gonna have to move the emergency brake cable and relocate that. Not even sure we were gonna use that anyways, because, well, it doesn't connect to anything going forward from there. So here's the dilemma we have with the door. I don't know if it should come down or if it should open forward. I don't want it opening backwards, because obviously we don't want it coming open while you're driving and just getting caught by the wind and flipping open. And if you got to put chains or straps or batteries.
Those are letters.
There's, painted letters. Oh, there is paint under that red.
It's on the other side too. I didn't know it was on this side.
I can faintly see a number 4 right there. Oh, look, here's a U and a T. Huh.
O and a T.
Get in here and get yourself a sniff of this. So there's faint letters here. It's actually coming up better on camera. Look at it on camera. You see like the GT-7.
Look at the other side. Come on.
Oh. Yeah. None of that was there.
This is an SPE.
When you said you were seeing letters, I thought you were talking about on this.
No. You asked if it was on here, and I said no, it's on the thing.
I hadn't even come around this side. We might need to uncover that.
You can't.
Well, we could.
As soon as you take the red paint off, it peels the white off with it. That's why that letter no longer exists.
Well, we just wouldn't have to be that aggressive about it. SPECT IR SV PSC.
That is some kind of word! Whoa! Abkadevki, Jekyll-Nanot, Quirstwixes.
But I don't see anything up here like there was on the other side. I just see this Cutler brand. What does this say? Something Laboratories? Date of manufacture, 6 of 55. So this might have come off a 49 Diamond T, but it wasn't manufactured until 1955, which is fine because I didn't figure it was factory original anyways. But it's only 6 years later, so, you know, take a 49 Diamond T, bring it into the fleet and transfer your fuel tanks off of something else or get brand new fuel tanks for it. That is a mystery. We'll have to figure out. That's pretty cool, though.
All right, back to figuring
Back
out
to-
where we're gonna open.
Well, to be frank, what we're going to do is get a sander on this and see how much more of that red we can remove. But we're going to use the top edge of this diamond plate as a drip rail. So we'll cut below that, probably put like a piece of masking tape across there so we get a straight line. Same thing here. We'll come in from the edge, 3 inches, do a straight line with a piece of masking tape right across the bottom, 3 inches up here. And I'm thinking opening it to the
Yeah,
side.
that's what I was thinking.
So my biggest reason for that is just being able to open it and get it out of the way. I don't really see the benefit of a straight down toolbox door.
Yeah, if it comes open, then the wind will just push it back instead of tearing it off. Yours on your truck open up, but yours are small enough that that's okay.
Yeah. All right, well, let's get some masking tape and just kind of mock this up. We'll just lay out a frame for our cut here. Good news, bad news situation here, Caitlin. We didn't get the red paint off that I talked about getting off before we put the tape on. Bad news, because we're gonna have to probably pull the tape off. Good news, you're eyeballing that tape, got it paralleled 16 and 7/8. 16 and 7/8. So we measured this one to make sure that we got 12 inches straight down on both sides, since there wasn't like a weld line or a seam or anything like that to put the tape on. So what I'm actually thinking we're going to do is around the inside edge of the door, we'll build a 1x1 square tube frame for the door so that it's got some rigidity. And then inside of there, we'll build a flange, so like a piece of angle iron frame with a rubber seal on it. So when this closes, that 1-inch square tube frame that's on the inside of this door presses against the rubber seal. Let's just put a sander back on here and see how much dust we can make again, okay? What we've got here is a red, a green, white lettering, and then another red. So what Caitlin was saying was when she was sanding it, she was getting through the red. You can see when we went through the first layer of red to the white, it would pretty quickly eat through the white and green and get back to a red base. So we did manage to get some of it exposed. I like that. It just tells a story. I don't know what the story is. But that's the cool part about
So it looks like the paint
patina and rat rod stuff. Yeah, definitely had some runs in their letters that they threw on there real quick. So let's get the tape laid back out again here now and get this thing cut open. Probably need to give it a good sniff to see if there's still any fuel in there. There's no liquid in there for sure, but just don't want any like vapors, when we throw sparks in it.
Fire.
All right, we got it laid back out here and labeled. So this is the hinged side. This is the unhinged side. Dad jokes guaranteed in every episode. So what we're going to do is I'm going to cut this side all the way through. That way we can remove this piece of tape and clean up the edges to tack our hinges on there. And then we'll go ahead and cut here and here and here. We did go ahead and give this the old sniff test, and it smells like moldy old pond water. So not fuel, but kind of regret putting my nose right up in it. Let's get a cutoff wheel on this grinder and start making decisions about things we can't really fix if we get it wrong. Great.
My approach to everything in the garage is that if somebody else can do it, there's no reason we can't learn to do it. And even though we've never done anything like this before, I figured the best way to do it was to show Caitlin what I thought needed to be done and then let her try it. So we're using a little bullet style 2-piece weld-on hinge here. So I've done one side. Caitlin's now copying what I did on her side of the tank. One of the unforeseen problems we ran into was that once we cut the side open where we were going to weld the hinges, it actually let a little bit of the tension go on that metal as it had been formed into the shape of that tank. And we ended up having to use a ratchet strap and a hammer to try and pry that thing back into position. Then we went ahead with the hinges attached and started cutting out the rest of the door. And we decided to do it this way because we really didn't want to be left with a door that got warped while we were welding it and didn't fit any longer inside of the hole that we had cut it out of. So I don't know if this is the best way to do it, but it is the way we did it. And now it's time to start installing the latches. So we went ahead and measured out the space we needed, marked it on the tape, got one side cut. Now we're going to use the piece that we cut out of this door as a template for the other door. But Caitlin's still going to need to get some measurements from this door to figure out where to place it on her side.
You need, you need from there out. So that is 3/4 of an inch.
And then
4 inches.
here's the little box.
Okay, whoa, 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 whoa. What are you doing?
What?
What's this 3-inch thing here?
Top of this.
You don't need that. You don't need the top of that. You just need the inside. So 4 inches here, come up 4 inches here. Take your gloves off so you can actually use your fingers. Small mark at 4 inches. Quit writing on the measuring tape when you do that. It makes it real hard to use the measuring tape later. And then this one is 3/4 of an inch in. Is that 3/4 of an inch? I'm just holding the tape. You need to move it.
Well, that would have been nice to know.
So go over there and get the piece that we cut off the ground on the other side. And we'll line that up with those 2 marks. So we've got 1 3/4 inch mark here. So the best way to make sure that you're square is to make 2 marks. When you put that up there, line up those 2 marks. And that will allow us to recess this latch in that hole. Run some self-tappers. Finish cutting this off. Bob's your uncle. We've got 2 doors.
You know, we hear often from you guys about how much you appreciate mine and Caitlin's relationship in the garage as a dad and daughter working together. And that means a lot to us. It really does. However, I know for sure that you guys don't see everything that we do. And there are some times where we might get under each other's skin a little bit. And I'm reminded of the necessity of patience when you're dealing with someone, especially your own children, which of course reminds me of one of my favorite Bible verses, Proverbs chapter 15, verse 18. Hot tempers cause arguments. Patience brings peace.
All right, now we don't get gifts too often, but we had somebody that wanted to send us one of these, and it's from Hyperlight. So if you've been watching YouTube automotive stuff, you've probably seen Hyperlight doing overhead lights, but I think I know what this is because I saw recently on the No Nonsense Know-How channel a nice little, well, I saw one on theirs, and I think this might be the same thing from Hyperlight. So not sponsored, no strings attached to this. I'm seeing a LED light controller, cables and hooks, power source. Is it what I thought it was? You guys tell me. Oh, baby. You know, this logo was actually made by our friend Marty over at Marty's Hot Rod Garage. I was giving him some ideas, like generically, like, hey, I want a bolt with kind of a cross-threaded nut on it.
We have
The word cross-thread around it. And we were down at family reunion. He's extended family. And the next morning he shows up for breakfast and he's got this hand-drawn. So this is the original hand-drawn logo from Marty, and this is what it turned into. That's pretty cool, I think. All right, hit me with the bright light, Caitlin. Plug it in. That is awesome. That is really cool.
wow. We could use that like
Yeah,
as
it's
our
our
lighting.
spotlight, man. Just point that in whatever direction we're working. You know, I am just like, every time somebody reaches out to us and is like, hey, we love what you're doing. Can we send you something cool? I'm like, unbelievable. And also, yes, you can send us something cool. Looks like a broken neon. Flashing. All right, we're gonna figure out where to hang this up before we're done today. But for now, we gotta get back to this toolbox. So, guess a big thanks is due to our friends over at Hyperlight. That's awesome. All right, let's see what's in the treasure box there. Nice. Got it's the sending unit. So this up here is the sending unit, and the pickup tubes right there. Probably pick up and return, I guess. So those are in there. Those are going to have to be cut out. And I didn't even look before, but I was wondering if these tops were connected, and they are. So that goes straight across, or is it not? Does it not go all the way across? Somebody tell me. I can't see.
There's like a Dad. They open like this. So there's like a wall. You open this way.
Well, I probably could be.
My fire went out.
Yeah, I turned it off because we're about to leave. Probably could be happier with that, but I'm not sure how. Caitlin's came out really well. And I just want to point something out here. These tanks, I had 2 people who saw these tanks and went, "What are you thinking buying those old rusty pieces of junk?"
What are you thinking of judging us for buying these old pieces of junk?
Look at how, number 1, look at how thick that steel is.
Number 2.
Number 2, look at how good condition it's in.
Not a piece of junk.
There's no rust except for like some surface rust, and well, there's that one hole right over there. But this steel is 11 gauge steel. So I had been thinking about getting some like primer rust protector inside of there. I don't even think we need to do that. I had also been thinking about doing that on the inside and underneath of here. I don't think we need to do that.
It's only going to be driven in the summer anyways.
That's true. It is going to be a fair weather hot rod. So
Also, we're turning this into a cooler for car shows.
maybe.
Definitely.
It does have a drain hole in the bottom of it. We could fill it with ice, but then we run the risk of rusting it out because we're constantly filling it with water.
Put a liner in there. Not a liner, like a bucket or something.
Yeah, maybe.
Or just insulate it and throw the drinks in there.
Also, guys, we got this hung up, and I want to show you this because this is pretty awesome.
You are pretty awesome.
Oh, it's modulating on camera. It's solid color here, but that thing is awesome. Actually, I did a little bit of follow-up on it, and there is a link in the description if you want to pick one up for yourself from Hyperlight. And they can make signs. They do all kinds of garage lighting. They do that hexagonal overhead lighting for garages that are way nicer than ours. They got that too. So they sent that to us. We're grateful for it. It's gonna look really good for hopefully a lot of years. So cool. All right, Kat. I'm hungry. I'm not gonna eat a cat. I don't. Get out of here before I cook you up for some stir fry. We are gonna go get some dinner though, because it's a birthday dinner tonight for one of the family. So we will see you guys tomorrow afternoon when we go to slap this bad boy on that bad boy.
So before we could get this installed on the truck, we had to get the bottom of this catwalk cleaned up between these saddle tanks. This thing had been catching grease and oil from, I don't know if it was the drive shaft or the PTO shaft, whatever it was slinging a lot of it. And of course it was stuck pretty hard to the bottom, so we applied a little bit of heat, got it loosened up, got this cleaned up so that Caitlin could get to work with our Arc Captain Cut 55 plasma cutter. Now, we're not giving away a plasma cutter, but in fact, we're about 400 subscribers away from giving away an Arc Captain MiG 200. So if you're looking for a welder, go back and watch the video that's linked in the description of this one. Like it, comment on it, make sure you're subscribed to the channel because you could win yourself an Arc Captain MiG 200 in just a couple of weeks. So stay tuned for that.
All right, show them what you did here, Caitlin. I need a light. It's kind of dark here. You started a rat's nest on fire. That was what happened. So
You couldn't
these
even
things
say
ended
fire. You could say smoking.
well,
smoldering.
smoldering.
Maybe.
These things
Where's
ended
the
up
light?
like a Texas barbecue. Smoke rolling out of there because apparently, right in here, there was a giant rat's nest with some larvae from
That is such a nasty word.
something. But we got the baffle that was in here. So these tanks are obviously connected, and they were baffled so that you didn't have fuel. So you didn't have fuel sliding back and forth, moving the weight of the truck around. So got the baffle cut out, got this section here cut out. I think because we're going to put a 1-inch spacer, aka hockey puck,
In here,
underneath
tank
the
won't
mounting tanks there,
hit the back
that
of the-
hole should be enough to make room for this deal here to actually sit inside of this portion of the tanks. So we're waiting on some friends to show up here because, well, I'd like to say Caitlin's not stout enough to move that thing on one side, but
No, my dad just lost a ton of weight and is like an infant now and can't move anything.
so it's just really heavy. Really heavy. We had to stand it up on end and then roll it on top
Yeah,
of the
I had to lift
sawhorses.
up the whole side by myself while he put a cart under his.
Yeah, that's what happened. She just He-manned the thing into the air.
Oh.
So we've got some friends coming over to help us out to get this thing rolled up and moved over, and we're going to start fitting that today. Once it's on there, I think we'll finish out fabricating the doors, getting the inside of the frame built, and some sort of weather seal that we can get done on the inside to keep that dry. And we've got some folks available today to help us out, so that's what we're going to do. Anybody knows anything about underwear? No, that's not. I think it's Underwriters. It's a W, not an M. Underwriters Laboratories.
That is not a W.
I think it's a W.
I guarantee you that is not a W. Those are conjoined at the top. They're not conjoined at the bottom.
I'm fairly certain that W, if it were flipped around, would be an M. But Underwriters Laboratory doesn't make any sense. Underwriters Laboratories.
It's
does.
connected at the top.
I'm just telling you, that
They're
script
both connected, so probably two
is a
O's.
W, not an
So it's
M.
Underrooters.
No, Underwriters. And then Cutler, I don't know. Anyways, it was built in 6 of 55, so
6 of 55.
yeah. By the way, anybody want to offer any comments about the welding here? They're pretty fat. They look like a big old, like what's that big slug-looking thing that Pumbaa eats in?
Ew, what's that?
A grub. What's it look like?
Ew, gross.
Tastes like chicken.
In
This is what I was thinking of.
yeah,
A slug?
pretty good looking welds. Caterpillars, larva.
Well, our friends Sean and Aiden and Steven showed up, and we were glad they were there because we swung that truck right out of the corner, grabbed the saddle tank, set it down on the frame, and just rolled it into place. Well, I should say rolled. We kind of jammed it into place because, as I already said, the tolerances are pretty tight. So now our biggest problem is, how are we ever going to get this thing off this chassis?
Yeah, we got a little bit of touch-up paint to do on the frame there, I think, but this thing fit awesome. So Aiden had it right. Just a little bit of self-clearancing is all it needed. So we're gonna throw some hockey pucks in here. Caitlin and Steve are gonna run the jacks up and get this up in the air. Just do it evenly, because on the way down, it basically took the skin off of the paint job we put on the frame.
We're a little...
Hold off on your side there. Caitlin, see if yours will go up any higher. One more. There you go. I'll worry about getting them lined up with a hole later. But go ahead and let them down. That's the right height. All right. The other thing we're gonna have to figure out, well, I guess if I put the radiator up here close enough, but I kind of like to fill this space here with something. I'm gonna have to figure that out. Might be.
How much space?
Had a rack integrated with your stacks would be really good.
I've thought about that because if we throw the stacks up here, if we're running stacks right here, I've thought about like a frame we could run like an X brace or something that these can tie into instead of tying into the cab.
It's starting to look more and more like a big rig.
It's got to be. I'm gonna have to find a kingpin hitch and just set it right there over the axle. when we
lots of lights on the back rack.
no
Come on.
the chicken lights. No, I'm not doing a bunch of yellow
Chad type.
bull haulers. But when Caitlin and I first got this together, the first pictures that I showed her were like rat rods as like mini semis. I honestly like that look, but
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
oh, that's the first time she said that.
That's
so.
not the first time I've said that.
That you're okay with that?
I said I don't want it to look stupid. And some of the pictures you showed me looked a little stupid.
Okay, well, we're known for being stupid, not looking stupid. This thing looks awesome though, and there's absolutely no doubt about that. Let's see what this is looking like. Oh man. That is,
Pretty sweet, huh?
that's better than I ever imagined,
Oh
honestly.
yeah.
I think you should keep it.
Yep, me too.
Like the old wooden school chair? Go grab one of those steps. Actually, grab the passenger side step so we can
Is that
see.
the one that's not holy?
We'll just look at them and say which one goes right and which one goes left. Not that hard.
I just what am I?
Just bring me the passenger side step because we'll see how far it comes out here. I'm fairly certain that's the driver's side.
Okay.
Well,
Bigger than I remember it being.
well, we're end up having to cut it here because this frame
'Cause it
is
doesn't go
wider.
under.
That frame is wider than the Ford frame that it came off of. But line this up right here onto the back door.
Just grab one side.
That's not bad.
There you go.
That's not going to be bad at all. I mean, the front's going to go way in, obviously. But the only thing that needs to be done now is get this rear tire out here, either with a dually, big old offset for
You need something.
get some American racing rims or something on there. Probably not. I can't tell you how happy I am with that. That's going to be so cool. Well, I think for now, that might be as far as we get because before we lock it down, we're going to have to figure out what we're doing back here for a headache rack, exhaust, and
Radiator.
radiator. Thank you. And connecting the tank to the filler neck and fabricating the doors. So that's probably going to be the next episode. So thanks to these guys for helping today. Thanks to this girl for doing all the fabrication work here. And I'll be editing for the next 2 days. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, Dad.